Alex Pereira has stunned the world once again.
Right at him.
Right hand.
Boom! Just rocked him with that right hand.
Oh my
goodness. Ankalaev reaching for him. Let's see it again.
You
Boom.
can't get hit like this by this guy, man.
No, not by this guy.
And then he dives, and it was over. And then they make the 12-6 elbow legal.
Yeah.
Oh
right.
my God.
12-6 elbows legal.
They
again.
make the 12-6
That's
elbow legal.
That this guy.
Watch the one to the body, though. Please show the one to the body.
Oh, he hit them all.
Oh my God, he had one.
That's
he had one. Look at this.
Yeah, look at it. Deep into the
just
ribs.
to the body. That sucks so bad. Magomed had no chance. There was no way he was going to get out of that.
Just destroyed.
Then he does that same
thing.
That's so crazy, dude.
This dude's cold-blooded.
And guess what?
Around your waist. But before we even talk about the fight, you're walking in a booth. We noticed that you were adjusting your foot inside the octagon. What really is going on there? And was this something before the fight, or did it happen in the fight?
Yeah, I think this time it broke for sure. It started turning purple super quickly. But, you know, when I was throwing those low kicks, I saw that they were landing. You know, he changed his stances after the third kick, which is something that he didn't do in the last fight. It's something that I saw Jan Blachowicz did to him in the fight too. But as soon as I landed the first kick to his lead leg, I felt my foot.
And you were aggressive really from the first moment on. Was the approach to go right at him, or was that something that you saw would mean up for you in the fight?
That was the plan in the first fight. You know, I wanted to go up and be aggressive. I told everyone I wasn't feeling well. I'll talk about that a little bit later. But you know, I felt it that it was going to happen. You know, even this morning we went to breakfast at Bagel Mania, and we saw one of the guys from Power Slap who we saw last time on fight day as well. He had just lost that night, and today he was there and he just won. So I thought to myself, man, you know, last time he had lost, I lost, now he won, so everything is coming together.
You're gonna have. Do things feel different? You've won the title before. You've been the champion in 2 divisions. Is something else happening here?
I make all those around me happy, you know, all my fans. I feel all the love. At the press conference, the fans won't even let my opponent talk. So I feel that, and I want to give people joy. And even in Brazil, sometimes people will say, oh, I wasn't watching the UFC anymore until you came and stuff. So I feel it, and I want to give back to those people.
Well, you're certainly doing that, Alex. Now comes the part of my job that I have to do. That's always difficult because you just won the title once again, and we're already asking you about your next fight. But I talked to Carlos Ulberg and I talked to Yuri Prochazka after your fight. They both believe they're next in line. They both have their reasonings for it. If you get to play matchmaker as the champion, when do you fight, and who is your opponent?
You know, like I said up there, I had a whole speech prepared, but we all know what happened to Jon Jones' brother, so it's not even right to talk about that.
Brazilian powerhouse has regained his light heavyweight crown by delivering a devastating knockout to Magomed Ankalaev, one of the most brutal finishes we've witnessed in 2025. This wasn't a drawn-out battle. It was relentless aggression right from the opening bell. Pereira entered the fight with his trademark intense gaze, focused, methodical, and lethal. He didn't hesitate to strike. As soon as Ankalaev moved in, Pereira unleashed a thunderous right hand that sent him crashing to the mat. Just moments later, the fight was finished.
He could really be the face of this organization at this point.
Yeah, you know, people love him. People love the way he fights, and can't be bummed out with the way he performed this evening. So
he seemed to tease that maybe he was going to call for a Jon Jones fight, but then kind of pulled it back after, you know, learning about Arthur. Is him going to heavyweight something you would entertain at this point?
So today I was at work and had a bunch of meetings over there this afternoon, and I went over to the PI, and he was over in the PI. And I'm like, well, you're the last guy I expected to see here today. What are you doing here? And they're telling me we want to fight at heavyweight. I said, how about we win tonight and focus on tonight, and then we could talk about, you know, heavyweight. And I don't know. You know, there's still fights here in this division, but we'll see. I mean, this guy has been an absolute stud for us. He's on vacation in Australia, flies over and fights because, you know, somebody fell out. He fights when he's hurt. He doesn't care. He wants to fight everybody. He wants to move up to heavyweight.
The Lakers, the Celtics, any way that you want to do it. You do not lose to somebody and 5 months later flip the script this overwhelmingly. He believed in himself. And by the way, I was irritated with one thing, which is I didn't feel that Pierre was calling for this fight. I didn't see it. I spoke to Dana White yesterday. He said, Chael, that was only publicly. Behind the scenes, he was demanding this fight. He didn't think he was himself. He didn't want to make excuses, but he wanted the rematch. And yes, to your question, I believe it now.
He had a lot of losses in kickboxing and never made one, but for some reason he chose this time to make one. I don't know why. I believed him. And I think he proved. I think he proved himself right that he wasn't 100%, and he looked incredible tonight.
Yeah, incredible is the right word. And I was expecting a little bit of a different version, of course, but the way that he almost ran out of his corner, and I think back to the year that he had in 2024. Then he loses in March, and you're kind of wondering where does he go from here. This just completely throws him back into that aura that he was in 2024. I think he's a bigger star, definitely a bigger star.
I love that you brought that up. I mean, him and O'Malley have been bouncing back who the biggest star is, right? I'm taking Conor out because he's not currently licensed, but just to share with you, this fight was not the most anticipated fight of 2025, but I will tell you, coming out of this arena, I have had the great pleasure of standing here for 7 years with ESPN. I have never heard an arena the way that I heard them tonight. I have never heard a reaction. By the way, he got praised when he came in. They were booing Ankalaev. I mean, they got the fans. He's got this guy eating out of their hands. He's 37 years old. He's a middleweight, by the way. He's not any bigger now than when he was the middleweight champion. I'm still big on the idea of eventually seeing him at heavyweight. I gotta tell you, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, and I am very high on Pereira right now.
The referee stepped in, ending the fight. Pereira was back on top. The MMA world erupted, with fans and experts calling it one of his most dominant performances. He fights like a force of nature, every strike threatening to end the fight. This bout was more than just a title, it was redemption. In their previous match, Ankalaev had won after a tough battle that disrupted Pereira's rhythm. This time, Pereira came prepared. No hesitation, just focused aggression. He shut down Ankalaev's game plan, controlled the distance, landed precise leg kicks, and timed the perfect knockout.
Won it whole round and then a little bit of the second. And I felt like if I went back and did that again, I feel like I would do it differently. He had 25 minutes of content with the educated striking game that he has. I wasn't surprised that he pushed him back. I was surprised that he ran into the fire like that because he usually kind of starts slow.
They're now 1-1. If we were to accept what happened in the previous fight, we would be discussing a trilogy. We're not. We're even looking at Prohaska, who's 0-2, who got beat up for 2 rounds tonight. We're discussing that he goes in. The reason I share that, well, we did not ask for this fight. Dana White said, I want the 2 right guys to fight. These are the 2 right guys. Dana himself saw something that he thought perhaps wasn't right. And we get this rematch, and all of a sudden, Pereira goes out and delivers what he says. As the older fighter, I can't tell you a time off the top of my head where an older fighter came back and beat a younger fighter
for the first time. And it's, look, Tom Aspinall is a large obstacle.
That's a big
That's a
climb.
giant man that is never going to make middleweight, never going to make light heavyweight. Right. That is a true heavyweight.
Tom Aspinall couldn't make 225.
No.
He's huge. Yeah. Because he's ripped at 255.
Yeah.
So
that's a real heavy.
I'd like to see him fight again at 205. I got to be honest, man. I kind of like the guy that dominates a little bit, especially when it looks like that.
When it looks like that, I mean, that was revenge.
Well, Yuri Prohaska has fought Alex Pereira twice. So in our fighter meeting, when we talk about Ankalaev, that would have been a fresh matchup, whereas Carlos Ulberg has not fought him, so maybe he has the inside lane.
Well, Ulberg versus Yuri for an eliminator,
or for a vacant belt if
Poatan's
doing his
if
thing.
Poatan decides to go up, look, he's 38 years old too. At a certain point in time, he's going to be done with this. And it's not. We gotta appreciate him now. Because he doesn't have 10 years left. I mean, it's just heavyweights can fight a little longer, but 41, 42.
Hey man, let me tell you something. Fighting in there at 41, it ain't fun. It ain't fun at 41. I'm telling you, I don't care how good you are.
But we said a year ago when we talked about Pereira, he's only been in the UFC 3 years, and now we sit here. He still has less than 4 years on the roster.
Justly TKOs Magomed Ankalaev in their rematch in the main event of UFC 320. He didn't just finish him in round 1, he finished him in 1 minute. Absolutely amazing performance from Alex Pereira. Sham, I'm so happy we get to live in this timeline where Alex Pereira rids us of that goblin giant gnome. I don't know how to express how happy I am to be wrong. I watched Ankalaev get the win over Alex Pereira in the first fight. And now I've seen this, and I've never been happier to be incorrect on a prediction. Alex Pereira made it look easy. And when I tell you, he walked down Ankalaev, and Ankalaev looked like he'd seen a ghost from the opening bell, and he was thinking, this isn't the Alex Pereira from the first time we fought. This isn't the Alex Pereira backing up on the back foot, looking to tap away at low kicks and chip away at me. Alex Pereira genuinely looked like he was twice as big as Ankalaev, as Ankalaev backed up and cowered away from every exchange. Alex Pereira. I want to talk about the overall performance. I'm just so happy that humanity has prevailed against these goblins, and we don't have to hear about this Dagestani fan base anymore. They're gone. Easy victory. He's emoting on him. Look how right the belt looks back around Alex Pereira's waist. Emoting on Magomed Ankalaev, who genuinely got wobbled by a right overhand, shot in, panicked, shot into a takedown, curled up in a ball on the ground like Anthony Smith in his prime, and got hit over and over and over again. Some really dumb comments are saying early stoppage because he wasn't out cold. Ankalaev genuinely curled up in a ball and ate about 20 follow-up shots without doing anything about it, waiting for Herb Dean to step in and save him. Alex Pereira turns him into 12-6 elbows. We got to talk about the overall performance though, because this means
the power, the precision, and the composure. These qualities set Alex Pereira apart from the rest of the division. Now, the big question is, what's next for him?
I'm going to go through what happened in the very short minute of the fight. I'm also going to go over what's next. Because if you're a real fight fan, you know what the fight of the era is that we need to see. Alex Pereira's got to move up if Tom Aspinall defeats Cyril Gane at UFC 321. By KO in the first round as well, just to add some extra hype. Alex Pereira's got to move up to heavyweight and try for a third belt at the White House in 2026. Him versus Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall versus Alex Pereira at the White House, June 2026, International Fight Week. Third belt for Alex Pereira on the line. Potential GOAT status for Alex Pereira on the line as well. Tom Aspinall gets the super fight. This is the fight of the modern era of combat sports. Alex,
him as aggressively as you did because of how injured you were in the first fight and how you wanted to correct that in the second fight? Or did you just get in there and feel the emotions of the moment?
Não, isso tudo faz parte do plano. Algumas semanas atrás, o Glover deu entrevista e avisou. Falou, Poatan vai diferente, primeiro round vocês já vão ver, com essa convicção, né? Mas ninguém acreditou.
No, that was all part of the plan. And Glover even did an interview and he said, you guys are going to see the difference in the first round. So it was all planned out.
You were very good for the most part during the lead up to this to not taking some of the words said by him or whoever was saying it for him and the personal attacks that were made on him. But realistically, how much of a grudge did you hold against him for those words?
Todo momento. Algumas vezes, igual quando eu falei pro Dana White, pergunta pro Dana White e tal, que o Dana White foi e falou, pô, esse cara nunca negou luta pra mim, né? Nunca falou um não. Pode estar viajando, tá lesionado, e eu sempre fiz isso, então isso acho que foi o que fiquei mais assim, sabe, das palavras dele. E falando também, tipo, pô, da borracharia, queria voltar pra borracharia. Então, tipo, ele tava tentando falar algo pra se promover, porque se ele não falasse isso, não falasse do meu nome, ele não conseguia chamar a atenção de ninguém.
I don't let it really affect me, you know, and that's why I even said, you know, ask Dana in the press conference how many times I turned down a fight, and Dana said he's never turned down a fight, even when he's traveling on vacation or whatever it was. But he said a lot of things that I was going to go back and work at a tire shop and just a lot of things through this whole time that he shouldn't have said.
So I was going to ask you, in the face-off, you were caught on camera saying, I don't want to go back to the tire shop. Obviously, the people who followed your story understand the significance of that. But for those who don't, what is the significance behind those words and why did you feel you had to tell him that at that moment?
Para me lembrar depois, né, eu joguei um pouco de responsabilidade, né, para mim mesmo, né, que eu ia lembrar disso, porque eu já falei algumas vezes antes, né, me perguntaram, né, pô, como que você conseguiu ser esse cara que você é hoje e tal, eu falei, pô, eu não tinha um plano B, eu tinha que lutar, e eu falava que eu não queria voltar pra borracharia. Então eu repeti essa mesma frase para ele para lembrar que eu não queria voltar para borracharia.
I wanted to remind myself of that. I wanted me to remember that moment and kind of put that responsibility on me of not wanting to go back to the tire shop, because a lot of people ask, you know, how'd you make it from, you know, the tire shop to being a world champion? And it's what I've told myself all along, that I wasn't going to go back to that. So I wanted to remember that.
Mas eu vou pro Brasil e eu vou voltar na borracharia, mas com esse cinturão aqui, ó.
But I'm going to go to Brazil and I'm going to go to the tire shop, but I'm taking...
Some fans are already eager for a trilogy showdown with Ankalaev. while others think Pereira could be ready to move up again and chase history in the heavyweight division.
Not only does he emote on Ankalaev afterwards and treat him like it was a walk in the park. A walk in the park. Let's talk about what really happened here. He started the fight and he's going inside low kick. Something that he did not do once or that much in the first fight between them. So you know what? The narrative from Pereira was, I was injured the first fight. That was the worst version of me that's ever showed up. And I was thinking, that's what all fighters say though. They're not just going to admit that the other guy's way better than them. So I was thinking, all right, Alex Pereira, these are excuses, but they were definitely legitimate excuses because he went shin to shin with Ankalaev, like Jan Blachowicz did. Remember, Ankalaev's a southpaw, as he is in this stance here. And what you may notice is, he's not a southpaw here. And that's what it came down to. In the last fight, Ankalaev could remain southpaw for nearly the entire time. That's where he's comfortable. And that's what gives Alex Pereira problems. And Pereira was trying to do lead low kicks on Ankalaev's calf, and they weren't having nearly as much of an effect. Jan Blachowicz went
behind the cage, just staring, just looking, all being very, very serious, very scary and very intimidating. Well, it obviously worked because Magomed Ankalaev just got flatlined, smoked, destroyed, beaten in 1 minute, 20 seconds. Now, all the talk of him coming in at 40%, maybe there was a little truth to that. I mean, we did talk about him being a little burnt out. We did talk about the schedule that he was on, which was kind of crazy. And certainly it looked like it did catch up to him in his last fight against Magomed Ankalaev. But he was right. There isn't going to be a third match. There isn't going to be a rubber match. Absolutely no way. Alex Pereira now is going to go into new challenges. If Magomed made it competitive, then maybe there would have been a talk of a third match. But it wasn't competitive. It was completely one-sided. It was one of the most vicious beatdowns we've ever seen. Alex Pereira now is a 3-time UFC champion. No UFC champion has ever lost a belt like that and then came back and got it in quick fashion and made it that easy. No champion's ever done that before, losing the belt and coming back again like that. And then when you look here at the record of Alex Pereira and what he's achieved, Joe Rogan and DC, they were talking about this all night. But it is...
Picture this. Pereira taking on Tom Aspinall or Jon Jones. These matchups would rock the entire sport. And for Ankalaev, this loss stings deeply.
Oi! Oh! Take your time. Yep. Find your shots. Find your shots. Damn! That's all he had to do, guys. That's all he had to do the first time they fought. Alex Pereira to give him an opportunity to actually get into the fight. Ta-da! 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 Fraud check? Oh, come on, boys. Stop with the fraud check. He finished it too early for my parlay. Sorry. That was probably the shortest title reign. No, I think GSP. I think Matt Serra was. Chama's back, boys. Chama's back. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I would fight Yuri Prochazka, then fight maybe the winner of Octagon and Tom Aspinall and be done. Just be...
In less than 2 minutes, Magomed Ankalaev went from champion to unconscious. But don't underestimate him. He's one of the toughest and most skilled fighters in the UFC, and he'll be back. Now he knows what it means to face Pereira. One mistake is all it takes. The MMA world can't stop buzzing. Many call Pereira the most fearsome striker in UFC history, while others rank him among the top 5 pound-for-pound fighters ever. From middleweight to light heavyweight, he's rewriting the record books. Tonight proved one thing. Alex Pereira isn't just a fighter, he's a destroyer. And everyone in the UFC, especially at 205, should be on alert for what's next.